The functions of ecosystem consists of productivity. The rate of biomass production is called productivity, which is again broadly classified into primary productivity and secondary product. Decomposition is what? Breakdown of complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrients, and the process is called decomposer, which is done by the decomposers. The process by which water soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salts is called as what? Leaching. Hello everyone, welcome back to the revision class of 2nd PUC Biology, Chapter 12 called Ecosystem. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. So, this particular chapter called Ecosystem has a weightage of 5 marks. What are we going to study in this revision class of Chapter 12 Ecosystem? I am going to discuss about the type of questions that were previously asked in the previous year's biology question paper. So, the concepts what I am going to discuss in this particular revision class is important from examination point of view. What is ecosystem? It is the structural and functional unit of biosphere which consists of biotic and abiotic factors. Moving on to the flow chart. Types of ecosystem. What are the types of ecosystem? We classify the ecosystem into natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. So what are the natural ecosystems? Again, natural ecosystem can be broadly classified into terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial again into forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem and desert ecosystem. Again, aquatic ecosystem can be broadly classified into freshwater ecosystem and saltwater ecosystem. So freshwater ecosystem consists of what? Ponds, lakes and streams, and saltwater consists of wetlands and estuaries. Artificial ecosystem like for example aquarium, etc. These are all cultivation of crops. All this comes under artificial ecosystem. Moving on to the components of ecosystem. As I already said in the beginning of this class, ecosystem is the structural and functional unit of biosphere which consists of abiotic and biotic factors. Abiotic factors like wind, light, air, etc. Biotic factors consist of producers, consumers and decomposers. Structure of an ecosystem. What exactly an ecosystem consists of? What are the components of an ecosystem? It consists of species composition and stratification. Moving on to types of ecological succession. Actually, this particular concept has been deleted from syllabus of this particular chapter. But if at all you are writing NEET exam, I think this is going to help you all out. So, types of ecological succession consists of primary succession and secondary succession. Function of an ecosystem. What are the functions of an ecosystem? The functions of ecosystem consists of productivity. The rate of biomass production is called productivity, which is again broadly classified into primary productivity and secondary product. So what is productivity? The rate of biomass production is called productivity, which is again broadly classified into primary and secondary. Then decomposition. What is decomposition? The breakdown of organic matter into simpler inorganic components is called decomposition, which is a very important process that is happening in the nature and which includes the following steps like fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification and mineralization. This particular concept called decomposition, explain the process of decomposition and the steps involved in the process of decomposition is very important from examination point of view. Then moving on to energy flow. Energy flow is nothing but the transfer of energy in a food chain is called as energy flow. So what is it? Food chain, trophic levels, ecological pyramids. The nutrient cycling, actually when nutrient cycling is also been deleted from here, this concept is deleted from this particular chapter called ecosystem. As I said, if at all you are writing the competitive exams, I think this is going to help you a lot. Nutrient cycle is broadly classified into two cycles. One is the gaseous cycle, mainly consists of the carbon cycle. The sedimentary cycle, carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle. Sedimentary cycle consists of phosphorus cycle. Then moving on to ecological pyramids, food chains and trophic levels. Already I said, what is ecological pyramid? It is a graphic representation of the different trophic levels of a food chain. So it consists of what? Pyramid of number, which consists of number, biomass and energy. So what are ecological pyramids? They are the schematic graphical representation of different trophic levels of a food chain, which consists of number, biomass and energy. Then types of food chain. What is food chain? It is the process of transfer of energy from one trophic level to another trophic level. Eating and being eaten is called as food chain. So there are two types of food chain, namely grazing food chain, that is GFC, and detritus food chain, that is DTC, that is detritus food chain. It is called detritus food chain, DFC, you can call it as DFC. GFC, grazing food chain, detritus food chain, DFC. Then energy flow. Energy flow, I told you, energy flow is nothing but the transfer of energy in the food chain. Next, trophic levels. So there are different trophic levels. One is called the primary producer. Obviously, the primary producer will always be the plants. Then primary consumer, example cow, grasshopper. Secondary consumer, example bird, fish, wolf. Tertiary consumer, example man and lion. Moving on to the multiple choice questions that are going to be likely asked in this particular chapter called ecosystem. So the natural interconnection of food chains make it a dash. What is it? It is going to make it a food web. Second question, the amount of nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus and calcium present in the soil at any given time is called as what? Standing state. This is very, very important point to be noted. So usually they'll ask standing crop and standing state. So this is very, very important from examination point of view. Next, question number 3, explain the steps involved in the process of decomposition. So this is a very important question. It is like the most likely question which is asked in the examination. So you know that they're going to ask this particular question. Please try to understand the concepts of this particular concept called decomposition and the different steps that are involved in the process of decomposition. So what is decomposition? Decomposition is what? Breakdown of complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrients, and the process is called decomposer, which is done by the decomposers. Who is called as a decomposer? That is the dead plant remains such as leaves, bark, flowers and dead remains of animals includes fecal matter is called a detritus. Decomposers, they are also called as what? Dirt eaters. Dirt eaters, or they are also called as detrivores. Detrivores are the one which feed on detritus. What is detritus? It is nothing but the dead plant remains such as leaves, bark, flowers and dead remains of animals including fecal matter is called as what? Detritus. Detritus is the raw material for decomposition. Detrivores are the organisms which break down detritus into smaller particles. Example, earthworm. We all know pretty sure earthworm is called farmer's friend because it's an annelid and it is responsible for breaking down the soil particles, right? And it loosens the soil and makes good for aeration. Hence it is called as farmer's friend. Next, what are the steps? The important steps in the process of decomposition are what? Fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification and mineralization. So what are the steps? Fragmentation, number 1. Step number 1 is fragmentation. Step number 2 is leaching. Step number 3 is catabolism. Step number 4 is humidification and step number 5 is mineralization. As I said in the beginning of this particular question, this is very important from examination point of view. So what is decomposition and the steps involved in the process of decomposition is very important. So what is fragmentation? So you have understood what is decomposition, what is detritus, what are decomposers or detrivores, etc. And the 5 steps that are involved in the process of decomposition. But what is the first step? Fragmentation, the very word itself will tell you, is the breaking down of detritus into smaller particles, the process by which water-soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salts is called as leaching. So breaking down of detritus into smaller particles is called fragmentation. What is leaching? The process by which water-soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salts is called as what? Leaching. So fragmentation is, you have understood, and leaching. Next step is what? Catabolism. The process by which bacterial and fungal enzymes degrade detritus to simpler inorganic substances is called catabolism. Next is called humification. Humus, we know, usually we call the black amorphous soil as humus, the fertile soil. What is humification? Humification is the accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance called humus. The last but one step is what? Mineralization. The humus is further degraded by some microbes and release of inorganic nutrients occur by the process called mineralization. So you have understood what is decomposition, what is detritus, what are detrivores or dirt eaters, and you have understood the 5 steps that are involved in the process of decomposition, that is fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humification and mineralization. Very important is what are the factors that affect the rate of decomposition. This is also important. Along with the concept of decomposition and the steps that are involved in the process, what are the factors that affect the rate of decomposition? Large amount of oxygen is required for, so it's an oxygen dependent process. So more the oxygen, more will be the rate of decomposition requiring process. So large amount of oxygen is required for decomposition as it is an energy requiring process. Chitin and lignin present in detritus lower the rate of decomposition. Suppose if at all the plant or animal remains is made up of chitin and lignin, particularly the insect wings as well as the plants. So if it is lignin and chitin, the rate of decomposition is slower. Then nitrogen and water soluble substances like sugar in detritus increases the rate of decomposition. And even temperature also plays a very great role in the process of decomposition. So what temperature, what is the optimum temperature that is required for the process of decomposition? Warm and moist environment favor decomposition. So it should be warm and moist. Higher temperature is going to reduce the rate of decomposition, whereas low temperature, dryness and anaerobiosis inhibit decomposition. Next, what is standing crops? You have understood what is standing state. What is standing crop? Even this is important from examination point of view. Each trophic level has a certain mass of living material, biomass, or the number in a unit area at a particular time. So how do we define the word called standing crop? Each trophic level has a certain mass of living material. Certain mass of living material is called as what? Biomass, or the number in a unit area at a particular time. Next, question number 5. Name the type of food chain that is a major conduit for energy flow in an aquatic ecosystem. It is GFC or grazing food chain. Next, ecological pyramids have limitations. Justify the statement with 3 reasons. So what are ecological pyramids? Already I explained. The graphic representation of the different trophic levels of a food chain, which mainly consists of biomass, number and energy. So what are the limitations? It does not take into account the same species belonging to 2 or more trophic levels is the first reason. Second reason, it assumes a simple food chain. It never exists in nature. It does not accommodate. Third one, it does not accommodate food web, and saprophytes are not given a place. So this is a very, very important, 3 very important reasons for the ecological pyramids to have limitations. This is also important. Next, what are ecological pyramids? Draw an ideal pyramid of energy and mention its units. So the representation of food chain in the form of a pyramid, already I told. So energy is measured in terms of joules. So here you can see always primary producers. So this is the primary producer, which is the first trophic level, second, third and fourth trophic level. So first trophic level, primary producers. Second trophic level, primary consumers. PP means primary producers. PC means primary consumers. SC means secondary consumers. Secondary consumers. TC means tertiary consumers. So first trophic level in a pyramid of energy is what? Primary producer, primary consumer second level, third trophic level secondary consumer, and fourth tertiary consumer. So here you can see how the number is reduced. 10,000 to 1,000, first trophic level 10,000 joules. When it goes to the second 1,000, then third 100, and fourth 10 J. That is, as we know that when the energy is transferred from one level to another level, some amount of energy is lost in the form of heat, and some energy is utilized by the trophic level for its own functions. Next, question number A. Mention the functional components of an ecosystem. What is trophic level? This is very important. So, the functional components of the ecosystem are productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycle. So, what are all the productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycle? What is trophic level? The organisms occupy a specific place in the food chain is known as their trophic level. Each trophic, like primary producers form first trophic level, primary consumers form the second trophic level, secondary consumers form the third trophic level, and tertiary consumers form the fourth trophic level. So what is trophic level? The organisms which occupy a specific place in a food chain. Next, what is detritus? Already I told detritus is nothing but the dead matter of plants and animals, including fecal matter, dead organic matter. Simple words, dead organic matter is called as detritus. Question number 11. Represent an ideal pyramid of number in a grassland ecosystem. This is also important. So this forms the first trophic level, second, third, and fourth. Here, number of individuals is represented. Here you can see how it keeps on reducing from one trophic level to another trophic level. So primary producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. These ecological pyramids are very important from examination point of view. We have three ecological pyramids. Pyramid of, already I explained, pyramid of number, the one here, number, pyramid of energy, which I explained in the previous slide, pyramid of biomass. Among these three ecological pyramids, any one will be asked. So this is very important from examination. What are ecological pyramids? What is pyramid of number? What is pyramid? Draw an ideal pyramid of number in a grassland ecosystem. Like that it will be asked. Next. 14th question. Distinguish between primary productivity and secondary productivity in an ecosystem. It's a split question. It is for 5 marks question. So it is 3 marks and define a food web 2 marks. So distinguish between, it's a 3-marker question. It's a 3-marker question. 2 plus 1. What is productivity? The rate of biomass production is called productivity. It is broadly classified into primary productivity and secondary productivity. So distinguish between primary productivity and secondary productivity. So primary productivity means what? It refers to the amount of organic matter or biomass produced at the producer level during a given period of time. Then what is secondary productivity? It is defined as the rate of formation. Here it is amount of organic matter or biomass produced. It is the rate of formation of new organic matter by the gross secondary productivity, which is equal to the total plant matter eaten by a herbivore minus the material passed out as feces, fecal matter. So this is the secondary productivity. Define food web. Different food chains are naturally interconnected. Such interconnected matrix of food chain is called as what? Food web. Hope you all have understood the important concepts what I explained in this particular chapter called ecosystem, which is having a weightage of 5 marks. So it is a less mark, but some concepts in this particular chapter are very important from examination point of view. Like for example, the process of decomposition, the steps involved in the process of decomposition, ecological pyramids, and the functions of an ecosystem, components of an ecosystem. All this is what are the types of food chain, and that is a grazing food chain and the detritus food chain. What is food web? What is food chain? All these concepts might be asked from this particular chapter called ecosystem, which is having a weightage of 5 marks. Thank you.